Hello from the Y. My name is Jillian, and today we're going to be going through a 30-minute yoga flow. So we're going to begin seated. You could have your legs crossed, or you could have your legs extended out in front of you if that's more comfortable. Your hands can be down at your sides if you'd like, or in your lap. I have my legs crossed. All right. So we're going to start by either gently closing the eyes, or you can just bring a soft focus to your gaze. We're going to take a big breath in through the nose and exhale out of the mouth. And one more time, big breath in and exhale. Begin to bring your awareness into the room that you're sitting in. And start to take your focus to the sounds that you're hearing around you. And allow yourself to bounce from sound to sound without resting on any one sound in particular. Just letting yourself float, noticing what you hear. We're going to take our awareness to our breath. So I want you to take one hand and place it gently onto your abdomen. The other hand can either rest in your lap, it can be at your side. One is fine. And then take your awareness to your breath and just notice how your body is moving as you breathe. Notice the abdomen move against your hand as you inhale and exhale. And notice the quality of your breath. So notice how fast it is, if it's deep or shallow, if it's choppy or smooth. No right or wrong answer. I just want you to notice how you are breathing. Okay. We're going to start to increase our breath length. So I want you to take a big inhale. And expand the belly out like a balloon. Feel yourself press against your hand. Maybe you can bring both hands to your abdomen. And then exhale and feel your abdomen start to compress. Nice and slow. Big, slow inhale. Fill the belly up like a balloon. And slowly exhale out, releasing the air. Good. We're going to do this 3 more times. Big, slow inhale. Fill your belly up. Fill up those lungs. And slowly exhale out. Keeping control of the breath. 2 more times. Big inhale. And slowly exhale out. And one last time. Big slow inhale. And slowly exhale out. Good. And then allow yourself to just come back to your natural breath. Notice how you're feeling. Notice how your mind feels, how your body feels. Good. We'll drop our hands down from our bellies. And if you had your eyes closed, you can gently begin to open them up. And we're going to start to focus our gaze in front of us. Hands are going to come on down to your thighs. So whether you have your legs straight out or crossed, hands just come on down to your thighs. From here, we're going to lift our hands all the way up in front of us and start to rotate the wrists. So rotating the wrists nice and slow and trying to move only from the wrists. So we're not moving the elbows. We really just want to move the hands. And then go the opposite direction. Good, and then slowly drop your hands back down. By your sides, we're going to take the shoulders up toward the ears and then roll them back and down. Inhale as you draw the shoulders up. Exhale as you roll them back and down. Inhale the shoulders up. Exhale around, and we're going to go to the opposite direction. Inhale, shoulders draw up toward the ears. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale. And exhale. One more time around. Inhale. And exhale. Good. We're going to take our right hand and place it down onto the floor next to the right hip. Left hand's going to come all the way up overhead and then reach over to the right. If you want to, you can slide that right hand out just a little bit more. Press the left hip down toward the mat. Open your chest nice and wide. Big inhale. And exhale out. And one more time, inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to come all the way back up through center. Left hand plants down next to the left hip. Right hand all the way up overhead and then reach over to the left. Maybe slide that left hand out a little bit more if you want. Press the right hip down. Open the chest nice and wide. Look forward. Breath in, exhale, and one more time, big breath in, and exhale, come all the way back up through the middle. Good. We're going to bring our hands in front of us, down to the floor so that we can swing around to come into a tabletop position. So you may need to kind of swivel around on your mat to find the best place for you. All right, so in our tabletop, we have our knees right underneath our hips. So you're going to have a little bit of space in between your knees as you bring them right underneath the hip bones. And as you look through that space in between your legs, you should not be able to see your feet, so you may need to move your feet around to make sure that they're tracking out directly behind your legs. Shoulders are right above wrists. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Good. I'm going to start to do a cat-cow wave. So think of moving your spine in a wave form. All right? So we're going to start to tip the tailbone up toward the sky. Bring the belly down toward the floor. Then the chest, opening up the chest nice and wide, looking forward for cow pose. And then beginning at the tailbone, curl the tailbone under. Bring the low back, the middle back, up toward the sky. Tuck the chin for cat. Good. Starting at the tailbone again, tip the tailbone up, come down into cow pose. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, we're going to bring our spine up into cat. And do this one last time. Tip the tailbone up, bring the belly down, open up the chest nice and wide. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bring yourself up into cat. Good, and we're going to take ourselves back down into a neutral spine, keeping the navel in toward the spine, so a little bit of activation in the core. We're going to start by sliding the right foot back behind us, straightening the right leg, keeping the right toes down onto the floor. And from here, we're going to start to just press our weight back into that right heel to stretch out your right calf. Take a breath. And exhale. And one more time. Inhale. And exhale out. Good. Shift your weight forward so your shoulders come back over your wrists. We're going to start to slide our right leg out to the side, placing the sole of the right foot down onto the floor. So you have yourself positioned in a way where your leg is out to the side, sole of the foot is on the floor. Now if this feels good right here and you're feeling a good stretch on your inner thigh, you can stay right here. Another option is to take your gaze over your right shoulder. And then our third option is to bring yourself down onto forearms. Wherever you choose, listen to your body, find what works best for you, and breathe. Good, one more breath. Good. Slide that right leg back behind you, keeping the toes on the ground, and we're going to shift it over to the left. So we're crossing it over behind our bodies, over that left thigh. So you're crossing the legs. Okay. So from here, we've got two choices. We can stay right where we are if that feels good to you. Or you can start to look over the left shoulder toward that right foot. Take a big breath in and exhale. One more time, big breath in and exhale out. Good, slide the right foot back behind you. Both knees come on down to the floor. Bring the big toes to touch. The knees will come wide and we're going to sit back into child's pose. So the hips come back toward the heels. Arms can be extended out nice and long if you want. If that doesn't feel good on your shoulders, you can bend the elbows. Take a rest here if you want to. You can take this time to maybe roll your wrists a little bit before we come on back up and go to the other side. Good. So we're going to walk ourselves back up to tabletop. All right. So we're going to move on over to the opposite side. So this time we're going to slide the left toes back, keeping them on the floor, straightening the left leg. And then press back into that left heel, stretch out the left calf a little bit. Breathe. Take an inhale and an exhale. Good. Shift your weight forward so your shoulders come back over your wrists. And then we're going to slide that left foot out to the left and place the sole of the foot on to the floor. So just like on the other side, we have our leg out to the side with the sole of the foot on the floor. And again, just like on the other side, we have the same three choices. So you could stay right here if this feels good on your inner thigh. You're feeling a nice good stretch, just stay right here. You can start to look over the left shoulder toward the left foot. Or you can bring yourself on down to elbows and forearms. So listen to your body and find what works best for you. And one side might be different than the other side. So you might have been on your forearms on one side, but on this side, you need to be up on your hands, and that's okay. You need to honor what your body is telling you. One more breath. Good. Slide the left foot back, keeping the toes on the ground, and then cross it over to the right. Just like on the other side. And then you have the same two choices. So you can stay right here, looking forward, or you can start to look over the right shoulder toward the left foot. You choose. Take a breath in. Exhale. Good. And then slide that left foot back behind you. Both knees come down to the floor. Big toes touch. Knees are wide. And then we're going to press back into child's pose for another rest. Maybe your arms are extended. Maybe they're bent. Maybe you want to roll your wrists right now. One more breath. Good. Now walk yourself back up to tabletop. Now we're not going to stay here. So from here in our table, we're going to walk our hands forward about 5 or 6 inches. Keep those fingers spread nice and wide. Curl your toes under. And then we're going to come on up into downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, the hips are the highest point in your body. Your belly is pulled in. Your back is nice and flat, fingers are spread wide, pressing into the thumb side of your hand. Knees are a little bit bent, so you don't want to have them locked out. You want to have just a little kind of softness in your knees. Heels pressed down toward the floor, but they do not have to touch the floor. And then you want to sort of think about yourself pressing backwards, pressing your hips backwards. I'll be here for about 3 more breaths. And if at any time you need a break, you can always bring your knees back down to the ground. 2 more breaths. One last breath. Good. We're going to take our knees back down to the ground. And you can either press back into child's pose or you can sit back on your heels. We'll roll our wrists wherever you end up. Give yourself a little break. All right. So we're going to do downward facing dog again. So back into our tabletop. We're going to walk our hands forward just a little bit. Make sure your fingers are spreading nice and wide on the mat. Curl your toes under. And then hips up, heels down into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pull the navel in. Press yourself back. Good. Now in this downward facing dog, we can start to move a little bit. So if you want to, you can maybe bend one knee, straighten the other, and switch back and forth a little bit. Maybe bend both knees. Just kind of move around and see what feels good in your downward facing dog. Keep breathing. And then bring yourself back to the center. One more breath. Good, knees down. Press back into child's pose just for one breath. Maybe roll the wrists. Good. Walking ourselves back up, we're going to come back into downward facing dog. So you may have needed to adjust your hands again, and that's okay. Press into downward facing dog. We're going to take our weight over into the left foot, starting to raise the right heel up toward the sky for a 3-legged dog. If this is too much for you, you can always bring that foot back down just into a regular downward facing dog. So in our 3-legged dog, I want you to, if you have your leg up, I want you to bend the right knee and then start to open the right hip out to the side, if that feels good. If not, you can keep your leg back at center. One more breath. And then set the foot back down onto the floor. From here, we're going to move over to the other side. So weight over into the right foot. Left heel presses up toward the sky. If you want. Again, you can always keep that foot down if you need it. Bend the left knee and then open the left hip out to the side. One more breath here. Then bring the leg back to center, both feet back down onto the floor, and then press back into child's pose for another rest. Again, you can sit back on your heels if you want to. Roll the wrists, maybe adjust your clothing like me. Alright. So we're going to come on back into tabletop. We're going to do one last downward facing dog, but this one's going to be nice and short. So we're going to curl the toes under, press back up into downward facing dog, and then from here we're going to start to tiptoe our feet up toward the hands like you're walking on a tightrope. So we're coming to the front of the mat for a forward fold. So there's a little bit of space in between your feet in your forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to here. You don't have to come on down to the floor. You can just come on down to your shins if that feels better. Breathe. Pressing your feet down into the floor. We're going to start to roll ourselves up to stand. Head is the last thing to come up. Okay, take a breath in and out. And one more time, big breath in and big breath out. Good. We're going to sweep our arms out to the side, raise them all the way up overhead, Hasta Uttanasana, reach toward the sky. We're going to dive forward, hinge at the hips, come on down into that forward fold or Uttanasana. Good. Get some length in your spine, come up halfway with a flat back. And then relax yourself back down into that forward fold. We're going to take our weight over into the left foot. We're going to start to step the right foot back toward the back of the mat for a lunge. All right. So in our lunge today, you're going to have 3 choices. So first choice is stay right here in this nice low lunge. Second choice is to bring your hands up to your left knee and bring yourself up to stand. And maybe even bring your arms all the way up overhead. So this one's going to be working a little bit more on strength rather than flexibility. And if you want to really work on flexibility today, you can start to come down onto the back knee and curl the toes. And lift the chest up. And feel a really good stretch up into that hip flexor. Take a breath in wherever you are. And exhale out. And one more breath. Good. Wherever you chose to be, we're all going to come back to that middle lunge. And then we're going to press, step the feet together back into our forward fold. Good. Take a breath in, come up halfway with a flat back. And then exhale and relax back down into your fold. Press the feet down into the floor. We're going to reverse swan dive. Stand up, arms all the way up overhead. Reach toward the sky. And then hands come to touch. Lower them down toward your heart. Back to our starting point. Mountain pose or Tadasana. Take a breath in. And exhale. Good. Sweep the arms out to the side. Raise them all the way up. Reach, 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 reach. And then dive forward. Down into your fold. Uttanasana. Really elongate the spine and come up halfway with your flat back. Inhale. And then exhale as you come all the way back down into the fold. This time we're going to take our weight over into the right foot. We're going to start to step the left foot back toward the back of the mat for a lunge. Again, this side we've got the same 3 options. So you can stay in this middle lunge. You could bring your hands up to your front knee and bring yourself up for a high lunge, also known as crescent pose. Or you can come all the way down by bringing the back knee down to the floor and opening up your chest nice and wide for a nice low lunge, also called Anjaneyasana. Keep breathing. Wherever you choose to be, we're going to do one more breath. Good. And then wherever you are, we're going to meet back in that middle lunge. And we're going to step the feet together into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway up with a flat back. And exhale all the way down. Press the feet down into the floor, reverse swan dive, stand up, arms overhead, reach, reach, reach. And hands come to touch and then lower them down to your heart for Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a big breath in and exhale. One more time, big breath in, exhale out. Good. So we're going to come down to the mat, and we're going to do that with a little bit of flow. So reach the hands out to the side and then all the way up overhead. We're going to dive forward, back into our forward fold. Bending both the knees quite a bit. You're going to step yourself back into a tabletop. And then we're going to walk our hands back so that we can swing around to sit. Okay. So we have just a few more minutes, so we're going to do just one last seated pose and then one pose on our backs before we head into Shavasana. So I'm going to ask you to bring your legs nice and wide, toes pointed up toward the sky. So find whatever spot works for you. So you may need to kind of play around with where your legs are to find a good spot for yourself. I'm going to bring our fingertips down to the floor in front of us. I want you to take your spine nice and tall, so really bring your posture up, roll our shoulders so our chest comes open nice and wide, and then keeping that beautiful posture, we'll start to walk our fingertips forward in front of us. Keeping a nice flat back, walking the fingertips forward, so you may only walk forward a little tiny bit. You feel that's good, stop. So I don't want you to press into this too much. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Down to hands if you want to, forearms all the way down, whatever feels good for your body, but listen to your body, listen to yourself, honor what's going on in your body. Two more breaths, big inhale, and exhale out, and one more breath, big inhale, and exhale out. We're going to walk ourselves back up to sit, grabbing inner thighs. We're going to bend the knees, bring both of the feet in toward one another, and the legs together. Now we're going to come on down to our backs for one last pose. Okay. So hugging both knees in toward the chest, you're going to grab on either to your shins or to the backs of your thighs, either one. Pose is called Apanasana, or knee to chest pose. Give those legs a nice big hug. You're going to start to bring the chin up toward the chest, the forehead toward the knees. Curl yourself into a tiny little ball. And then lower your head and shoulders back down onto the floor. If you want to now, you might even want to rock side to side a little bit. Give yourself a little massage on your low back. Good. And we're going to come back to stillness at the center, releasing the legs back down onto the floor. Good. And from here, we're going to move into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So for Shavasana, you have a couple choices. So our first choice is to keep the knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Bring your feet wide and then rest your knees in toward one another. So that's choice one. And our second choice is to just extend the legs out, nice and long, down the mat. Your hands can be wherever you like them to be. So they could be at your sides, with the palms facing up. Maybe you might feel good to put them on your belly, or maybe even on your hips. Just find whatever works for you, whatever feels good for you. And I'm going to ask you to either soften your gaze or close your eyes. We'll take a big breath in and exhale out. One more time, big breath in. And exhale out. Good. Allowing yourself to start to relax down onto your mat. Beginning to feel your body softening down onto the floor. Beginning to connect your body down onto the earth. Starting at the toes, we're going to start to relax the body. Relax the toes, the feet, the ankles, the calves. Soften your knees. Relax the thighs and the hamstrings. And melt your hips down onto the floor. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, relax the belly and the chest. Release the low back. Soften the upper back and the shoulders. Relax the arms, the elbows, and the wrists. Soften your hands and all 10 fingers. Relax the neck. Unclench the jaw. Peel your tongue off the roof of your mouth. Beginning to soften all the muscles in your face. And relaxing all the way up to the top of your head. Your whole body is relaxed. Your whole body is relaxed. Take another breath in. And slowly exhale out. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes a little bit. Maybe roll your wrists, rock your head from side to side. Start to wake your body up just a little bit. Good. And then when you feel ready, roll over to one side and take a couple breaths. And then press yourself up to sit. Any comfortable seated position that you would like. So your hands can be in your lap or at your heart center. Eyes can be open or closed. We're going to all take a big breath in together. And exhale. And one more time, big breath in. And exhale out. Good. Thank you for joining me today for your yoga practice and allowing me to be part of your wellness journey. The divine light in me sees and honors the divine light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you from the light. And have a very wonderful day.